Hey, welcome to the first episode of Dollar Reviews, or the new show anyway. This is episode 001. Today we got a couple of things, and we're going to go back and forth. I'm
You
Brian
sound like you're
Gillis.
introducing 2 cents right now.
Well, I mean, it is just one of our shows. It's not very
We
different.
got a couple of things. Just no. See, this is why there's no way I'd be able to host unless I had a piece of paper in front of me. I'm so bad at trying to make fun of you on the fly.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm making an ass out of myself. This is the first show.
just a little bit.
This is what I do.
So why don't you start this off since you saw something that people probably care about more than my pick?
I did see Brooklyn, the
hmm
which
Which
is one
I,
of the critical darlings that came out of
yes, everyone
Sundance.
is claiming Swarovski Ronan. I
Yeah,
tried to see it
Saoirse Ronan,
Friday.
by the
Is
way.
it Saoirse?
Yeah, it's Saoirse.
Huh.
That's how
I
you pronounce
tried to
it.
see it Friday night, but it didn't happen. I even called a friend we were going to go, but then we had like a prior obligation that we were trying to catch on time. But I was very like, if I had to put a 1 to 10 chance of me seeing it, it was like an 8.5.
This seems like it is more up your alley than it is mine. I mean, I
I'm
have the.
guessing, isn't it like I'm assuming like it's all romance, right? So it has like a before sunrise
All
like
right.
feel to it, except it's not in the moment. It's a series
um.
of moments.
Okay, I'm gonna read the Rotten Tomatoes consensus first, and I'll get to
Why?
that in a bit. Basically, what it says is that Brooklyn has
Amazing acting, but bad
outstanding
story.
performances with rich drama that tugs the heartstrings as deftly as it satisfies the mind. I don't know
Okay.
what the fuck people are on. This is just like almost every other like cookie cutter romance out there. I mean, to me, it's just a standard period drama. There's really nothing special about it. Even the romance,
It's
it's
about
not.
immigrants in
You know,
New York.
I mean, I honestly don't understand the definitely satisfies the mind part because there's nothing really here that makes me think other than. I mean, really, it's not much of a romance, like because it's Saoirse Ronan and Emery Cohen, who was he was the Bradley Cooper's son in Place Beyond the Pines. I don't know if you saw that, but I'm pretty sure that his accent is authentic,
It's
especially
Irish,
seeing
right?
that. But it just I don't know. It sounds
No,
something about
she
it
wait,
seems
she's
weird.
Irish, and
Yeah, she's
they're
Irish. He's
Russian,
Italian. He's like
Italian.
yeah, he's New York. He's Italian, American, Italian. Sounds like Joey Tribbiani every time he's talking. I mean, I maybe I don't know. Maybe the accent's authentic for all I know, but that character is just so fucking thin. Like all you know is that he just sees her one time. He's like, "Hey, I like you." All you know is that he likes her. He just shows up and is like, "Hey, let me walk you home." And then he also likes baseball. Apparently, that's a thing because she heard,
Well,
"Hey, oh, an Italian guy that doesn't like baseball. Yeah, keep him." And then she finds out, and it's like, "Oh, whoa, well,
well, it
I
takes
better keep
place
my
in
distance a
Brooklyn,
little
right?
bit." But that clearly doesn't matter later.
The title means that it takes place in Brooklyn. The Dodgers were in town back then. I'd
Yeah,
be hard pressed to find someone who didn't like baseball.
and then the drama comes in when she has to go back home because her sister dies. And it's all in the trailer, and she gets married, to make sure that she comes back home. But there's worry that she'll
You know,
probably end up staying home.
you didn't know that the idea of the show is that we don't ruin movies,
I'm
right?
not ruining it. It's all in the trailer.
I haven't seen
This
the
is all.
trailer.
Oh, well, okay. It's part of the plot synopsis.
Don't talk about the plot. Just
All
talk about
right.
the movie.
Well, okay, but I mean, this is pretty important to like what I'm trying to say because when you get to that second half, it nearly pissed me off. Like I was just about ready to just fucking just
Well,
destroy
I mean,
this movie because
this isn't
like
really your movie, though.
no no
As
no, but
far
I
as
mean
I
it's
know, you don't really care for the romance
no
stuff
hey, there are romances I like. There are some that
that are
really
in
resonate with
action
me.
movies or in comedies.
No,
I mean,
no,
like
no,
a
no. Okay,
romance movie.
okay. What do I have to go down the list? Romance movies that I love. Say anything. About time. Uh,
About Time's a time travel movie, though.
but that is a romance movie.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Love
But
is
I'm
an
saying
important
it's
part
a
of that
time
movie.
travel movie.
Across the universe.
You like that?
Yeah, I do love that movie. I know.
That's like,
I know.
oh
I know. I
man.
know. I love that movie.
The reason I don't like Moulin Rouge is the even bigger reason why I don't like Across the Universe.
I love the Beatles, and you know what? I think the covers are good as covers. But anyway, the second half of this movie almost pissed me off, and it's not necessarily because of a bad writing or anything. It's just how other characters are treating the lead character and how they're just kind of forcing everything. And I like just on basic life principle, I was just kind of saying fuck these people. And without spoiling it, it really isn't until the final moments of the movie where I was just, it fully won me over, and I was just kind of like, okay, thank you. Like, this is just, thank you for not going in the territory that I'm thinking. And I guess at the end of the day, if I watch it as a romance movie, it's a really piss poor one. But really, it's just a movie about leaving home, and it ended in a way that it was able to resonate with me because I'm at a very specific time in my life where I'm sort of torn in between two locations right now. But I just don't think it's the movie that everyone's praising it to be. You know, the performances are fine. Saoirse Ronan, who's, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, she's come a long way from being that annoying 13-year-old brat in Atonement. I mean, yeah, she's really
I
fucking
did
cute.
not see that movie
Well,
because that's not my movie.
you know,
I
it's
don't
actually
do melodrama period pieces.
it's a pretty good movie, but you know, Brooklyn I think is fine. I just, it's not anything special. I don't think there's anything that makes it any different from other period romances that are good, and it really just, as a romance, it's so thin because it's just a love triangle that, okay, it separates it by two continents. Maybe that's interesting, but there really are no characters. It's just one person that's being pressured by, or feeling the pressures of everybody, of like how to make the right decision on what to do with her life. That's
Well,
really it.
but I mean, like, as far as I know, this isn't supposed to be great because of the story. This is a strictly performance movie.
I don't,
That's
yeah,
how it's advertised. This
yeah,
is
but
the, oh wow, you gotta see the leads in this. They have great chemistry and
yeah,
they're
but
really
okay, they
good.
have some good chemistry in a couple scenes, but you know, great performances come from great characters, and if your characters are just kind of flat and two-dimensional and only care about, like, are only plumbers that care about baseball and one chick, then what is there that's interesting about that performance? I mean, you know, I like, the only reason I find it convincing is because I can sort of see why Saoirse Ronan is falling for the guy, even though I don't really understand why, other than it's just like, oh, you know, he's a guy and
Well, if
he's a
you think
nice
that's
guy.
weird, if you think that movie's weird, that sounds a lot more feasible than Age of Adaline. What do you know about this movie?
Nothing other than she just
Okay,
doesn't age.
yeah, okay. So, this was in theaters when I was still hired at one, or working at one rather. I kind of wanted to see it. A coworker of mine wanted to see it. I almost saw it with her. But yeah, I knew nothing. I knew what you know. I knew that she doesn't age. So they have to explain that obviously because you know it's Blake Lively and that's the movie. So the way they do it is with very scientific explanation with a narrator. And it's the only time there's a narrator used. There's a narrator at the beginning, there's a narrator at the end. That's it. And it's like this wouldn't be found out until 2035 and it's like it takes itself very very seriously. But the movie itself is pretty good. Like it is a romance movie, but like Blake Lively, despite me usually not like yeah, she was good in The Town and I thought she was pretty good in Green Lantern too. But like she was good here. It's like it's a one woman show. It's all about her and like what they do with this character who ceases aging and like how they spin that and how they bring it into like the character of San Francisco as a city, like very interesting stuff. But then there's the romance, which is a lot less interesting. Like the actual lead romance, like what's happening, it's like, yeah, this guy looks good. Like they have good chemistry. Like, okay, yeah, like they're cute together. That's
Again,
cool.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
But then she takes him home, or I mean, he takes her home, and that's where the movie becomes the movie, and then that is much more Hallmark, a lot less interesting. Like not disinteresting. Like it has some good points. It's like, huh, like oh cool, like especially in terms of like her age and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. By the way, Harrison Ford's in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's in this and he's in Star Wars, two sci-fi movies in the same year. But because this is a sci-fi movie, even though they try to ground it in
Yeah,
reality. And
no,
that was
there's
probably
definitely that element there.
because that was probably my biggest qualm with it, to be honest. It wasn't the romance stuff. It was just that they tried to make her like whatchamacallit, her endless youth realistic. And the way that they went about that was just it wasn't unbelievable. Like the science kind of makes sense, but like I said, the narrator, like they use a fucking narrator. It's weird.
I mean,
I wouldn't buy it for $1, but like it makes I think it would make for like a pretty good date movie.
I think just what
I
I'm struggling to understand is you're saying realistic, but is it like the science of it itself, it's grounded in actual science, or
I don't know. I don't know fucking
I mean,
quantum physics and
or
shit.
is it something like, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's like About Time where they take an extraordinary phenomenon, but they just use it for the very ordinary, mundane things in life, and
This
that's
they
it. Like you
well, I
just know it's
mean,
one extraordinary
well
thing in a
this
very
isn't
normal world.
that though. Like, she doesn't
Okay,
drink. She doesn't drink from the fucking fountain of youth or anything. It's just she has a freak accident, and
they deduce
by
scientifically what
yeah, it's
happened.
like okay, look, I'll say what it is because it's the first thing you see on screen. Okay, she's driving, it's snowing, her car goes off the road. It like lands in like a fucking pond. Okay, she lands in a pond, and when she's underwater in her car, lightning strikes her car, and then the
Uh,
narrator's like they're like explaining it step by step. It's like her body was so cold that she was going into hypothermic shock. Her heartbeat was dropping to 30 beats per second or 30 beats per minute. Her core temperature was reduced, and therefore she was going
who
into
is the
this.
narrator?
I don't know. And then it's like and then the lightning striking her acted as a defibrillator, bringing her like I swear to God, this is exactly how it sounds. And I'm watching this thing and I was like, uh, sure, okay, yeah. And then like I said, like as just a little tidbit, he's like, this is something that scientists wouldn't come to understand until 2035 or some shit. I was just like, dude, like this is supposed to be a chick flick, like not in the sense of like an I like, with like oh like the guy and the girl and the comedy and all that stuff, like a chick flick. The women go out and drive jobs just by themselves and not tell men about it, or like force their man to go with them. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, sure, because I kind of want to see it. And like this narrator, the two times in the movie around this science shit, just totally takes you out of the fucking thing by trying to make it realistic. It's like I didn't need that. You could have just said she was born with a slow aging process, like how they do in Benjamin Button.
Yeah,
Okay, because there kind of is a narrator there, but it's except it's
no,
like
it's
built into the story. It's just like it's interview that is off screen
mhm.
and it works.
Yeah,
Whereas this,
but no one explains the science of it. It's
yeah,
just
no one
yeah.
explains the science. It's just something that happens. Whereas here, it's like no, this happened. This is reality. You only live once. But like I said, if
Uh,
I could definitely see this as something that a girlfriend would try to make you watch, like not on a date, but like stay at home and like cook dinner and watch this. I could see that, and for that situation, no, it's not bad. But as like a single guy watching it alone,
yeah.
pretty weird. Not horrible, but just whatever. Like I said, it's like a Hallmark movie with a better budget.
hmm
What was the next thing you
I
saw
don't
this
know
week?
if I have to. I have not been able to think of a segue. God, I think I have to see that scene on YouTube or something because that sounds horrible. Okay, but anyway, what else did I see? I was able to catch the final installment of the Hunger Games, Mockingjay, which
I still haven't seen the Mockingjay Part
yeah,
One.
you know
I
what?
know Part One is all a build up to the war, and
hmm
Part Two is only the war. I know that.
And you know what? You should probably wait until some fan does an edit where they make it into a short 3 hour epic or
Yeah,
something, or shorter. Because
yeah. Because I know
honestly,
it's like
like
4 hours, the two parts
yeah,
together.
and I mean, honestly, what I feel like I saw was just probably the second go at the assembly cut where they just put all the footage together and they're trying to figure out what to take out. Because there is an epic 3 hour movie that can be made here, and I'm sure that someone's going to do it. This one, it doesn't really drag as much.
Hmm.
There's definitely some stuff where I feel like it doesn't need to be there, but I was honestly, I felt that it ended strong. It would have been nicer though if it was just one movie. That's probably my only beef with it. But
So what you're saying is fuck Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows.
oh yeah, all that
Like
trend
if
and all
if
that.
that well, I mean, I can understand it with that. Well, I still haven't read the source material. I haven't read the seventh book, but I can understand it. That's a very big book, and it's a series that was being filmed for like a
hmm
decade, and they felt obligated to split it up, not just for money reasons, but because there's a lot of material in that final novel.
And also,
Whereas like Breaking Dawn didn't need two parts,
no,
and it sounds by what you're saying here, this didn't need two parts either.
it doesn't. I mean, I will credit the writers though, is that at least part one they found it to be an interesting movie about war propaganda. and they did keep it character based, so like you could definitely feel how it was taking a toll on everybody. But it was such a downer of a movie too. Like it's not exactly something that you would associate a big Hollywood tentpole with. It felt more like I guess a gritty like very more like an art film, I guess, but because it has the Hunger Games label, like it wouldn't be that. But I mean, even here though, they do just as a war movie, like it's really kind of boggling to me that kids are going to see this too, because it
Well,
really
not
doesn't
kids, but
shy
young
away.
adults.
Yeah, but it really doesn't shy away from just the horrors of war and how
The first movie didn't do that either, and like I read the
no,
first book. I read the first Hunger Games book leading up to that first movie, which I saw in theaters, and like the source material is even darker than the film
yeah, no,
was. Like it
I thought
was pretty graphic in terms of the deaths.
I really thought that the first movie was weak. Like it really did feel toned down to me, and like none of the deaths of the kids felt horrible to me or horrifying in any way. Especially one big one, which just I had more of an emotional impact just by hearing them talk about it in the later films than in the first film when it happened. But like
The Rue
honest,
death, I'm assuming.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was just
Well,
kind
I
of like
mean,
oh
cause like I said, I read that first book, and like there's a lot of shit going on there, especially because I mean there wasn't really a love triangle yet. They just threw that into the first movie, but like the PETA stuff, like there was a lot of stuff there, and like him being a baker was a much bigger part, and therefore like how he used the makeup as war paint to disguise
which looked
himself.
fucking ridiculous
Yeah, it
in
looked
that
fucking
movie.
stupid
Yeah,
in the movie, but like how they like explain that in the novel, like it really made sense. And then like their false romance really like it made sense too. Like it was a very well written book, despite being aimed at young adults, and I think it was scholastic. And then yeah, the movie it didn't really do it for me, and
yeah.
Catching Fire didn't do it for me either. So that's why I hesitated to see not only the second part but the first part as well.
Well, I'm kind of on the I'm opposite of you, I guess, in that case, because for the first movie, it really fumbled the ball for me, and then when Francis Lawrence came aboard, that's where I feel like the world of this movie just got it felt much better realized, and he really just did so many great things. I mean, especially with that second movie, it still has what to me is the perfect like best use of the IMAX format ever. Just the way that the ratio changes, like especially during such a major like emotional moment, and then just the screen starts becoming overwhelming, and like just it was such an epic moment to do it. I really do feel like just he nails the characters and just makes you feel almost everything. And like especially going into this movie, like there are some really good action set pieces. And I don't know what you thought about I Am Legend, because I know a lot of people are split on it. I
Best
mean,
part about I Am Legend was the Batman versus Superman poster in Times Square. Best part about that movie. I
actually,
freaked out when I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god!"
on that, see, to me, the best part of I Am Legend just was probably the warehouse scene where they go into the dark and he goes after the dog. You remember the scene I'm talking about? And it's just like
Kinda, yeah. Where
it
it's like
is. It is the first time I saw that so fucking tense. Like especially I saw that with a packed audience the first time. Like just the tension in that scene I feel was masterful, and I feel like in this movie Francis Lawrence brought that back. Maybe not nearly as effective, but I mean just god damn, the guy is so good at just tension and build up. It pays off so great when the action sequences do come in afterwards. I really want to see more of what this guy does, because I feel like he is so close to just making that one movie that is a masterpiece within the studio system. And like I really just I don't know, I really want to see what he does. Like the guy is just so talented that I really am waiting for that breakout. But just Hunger Games Part 2, I really enjoyed it. It was a really satisfying finale for me, especially just after being invested in the series for this long. I think it
like
ended
5 years, 4 years.
like 3 years, I think, 2012. I mean, it does do the Lord of the Rings thing where it has like 20 different endings, which you know
Yeah.
what is actually it's fine because there is a lot of stuff to wrap up, and everything does end in a satisfying way for me. But
Did the credits?
without saying what
Uh,
it is, the one final scene in this movie, I really could have done without that.
the
It was
final
the
ending.
very final ending, because it does that thing several times. Like Lord of the Rings did this too, where it either cuts to black or it fades to black, and you're like, oh, so it's over. Nope, still got more to do. Okay.
Samwise comes in the door with that fucking gay look of his.
Yeah. That's not nearly as gay as that, but yeah, just that last scene, you'll see it at some point. I'm
Does
sure.
do the credits
I'm sure
begin with in memory of Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No,
No?
no, they don't begin with in memory thing. No, I'm pretty sure that's in there.
Is it in there? I mean, this is his final movie.
Well, they would have put that in there last year too, because he did.
Well, they might have, but I mean, this is literally his final movie. He doesn't. This is his last appearance ever.
No, it's. I mean, it's probably. It's. I'm sure it's in the credits, but it's not the first thing that comes up. And I mean, honestly, it was so long ago. I don't think that's the first thing that people want to.
It's 2 years ago.
It's not the first thing that people want to think. I guess when they walk out of that movie, it's not like a Furious 7 ending where, that's
well,
what that was
even
what
have
the
one
ending
of
was
those.
about.
They didn't put one of those in the movie because then that would have been overkill. I don't think was there one. I think it was at the end of the credits, maybe.
Yeah, no, that was the ending.
No, yeah, I mean,
ending was very much a goodbye, and then it said.
But I'm saying like it didn't begin with the in memoriam or anything, right? There was. I don't believe there
that
was.
entire scene. No, it just said
obviously the entire scene. Yeah, I know.
It said for Paul, and then it cut to it faded to black.
Yeah.
We're
gonna go separate roads, man. The race never ends. I still beat you by those 2 car lengths. You never had me. And then they do the montage of all their moments.
Such a great final shot too.
With that who the fuck sings that song? It was
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, it was Khalifa.
Yeah. I'm cutting this out, but
no, leave it in.
We just spoiled Furious 7, man. Come on.
Fuck no, everyone's seen that. It made over $1 billion stateside.
All right. It's staying.
So, would you buy it for $1 or no? I'm guessing no.
I will eagerly wait for there to be an edit of both films.
Make one on your own. You know how to do that.
Well, yeah, but then I got to buy it first. Sure, I could do it. I don't know. Maybe if I feel like taking on a project for myself, but I would rather make my own movies.
Sure.
I'm sure that someone else will do it and it'll be fine.
Well, I kind of saw something about war this week. I saw Bone Tomahawk, which I think I mentioned a while ago that I wanted to watch. Kind of interesting. It kind of weird. It was like 3 movies in one, and it felt like 3 movies at the same time. Like, yes, it's a Western about cannibals, okay? And people know that it's kind of like a horror Western, but not really. Like it starts off like with like a cool opening scene that sets up the movie. Yeah, like these Western like babbling guys, and there's like a pretty good cast here too, mind you. You got like David Arquette, who has like no screen time. Patrick Wilson, who's I guess you could say the star, Kurt Russell with like a really good fucking performance, especially in a Western. It's like kind of like this is the build up to Hateful Eight. And who? Oh, you got what's his name from The Visitor? Richard Jenkins. Yeah, and he's pretty cool too. He's the old man who's like kind of an alcoholic or whatever. But so yeah, you like have this opening sequence. You're like Bone Tomahawk. You're like, oh yeah, I'm ready. And then it's just a very monotonous, old-timey, this is a Western, my wife was kidnapped, let's go track them down and walk across the desert, and we're going to talk about what men are and what men do and learn what kind of men each of us is type of thing.
It's like a true Western.
Oh, I forgot Matthew Fox is in this too, playing an asshole.
Typical.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, maybe it's because it was written and directed by a first-time filmmaker. But like just like tonally, it didn't work because when you get to the end, when you get to that final section, when you actually get to the cannibals' like hideout, in the caves, that's fucking awesome. Like I can't say what it is because no, fuck it, I'll say what it is because this is the only reason why anyone would watch this movie if they knew what happens. Kind of in the same way how I talked about Roadhouse with like the throat ripping scene making it the reason to watch it. Mm-hmm. The cannibals. They like whatever. They're hungry, okay? So they take this deputy. They literally cut him in half. Sorry. They literally rip him in half. And it looks 100% real, and it's awesome. They do something even before that, which is even better. It like that one. I hope there's a GIF of that on the internet already. But yeah, the final like 15 to 30 minutes, not 30, like 15 to 25 minutes here, really good. It takes a really long time to get there. But it's a great looking film, like the period stuff, like the Western town and all the outfits and the guns. But like it's not that riveting. It's not that interesting. Like the dialogue isn't important. You're not going to be quoting the damn thing. Yeah, like I said, it's cool to see Kurt Russell with the huge like mutton chops. Yeah, that's all grayed out, and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what he's going to look like in the snow in a month from now. Um, but I guess yay, there's a Western besides the two big ones that are coming 2 weeks from now. But
Okay, there's Hateful Eight. What's the other one?
The Revenant.
That's a Western?
Yeah, what the
Does
fuck
that
you
count?
mean? Yeah, it's 100% a Western.
I don't know. I wouldn't think it because it
It's
just
Keanu like in the Appalachian or not Keanu. It's fucking oh man.
Leo.
Yeah, it's Leo in like the pioneer days, just wearing garb, like out in the snow fighting bears and shit. Like it's 100% a Western.
Yes, I wouldn't think that because of the winter setting, but
well,
I don't. Every time I
know
think of
nothing about
Western,
it, but I see his outfit. I'm pretty sure it's a Western, even if it's a modern day. I don't know if there's technology in the movie, but based on the setting, it's man versus nature, like cut off from society. That automatically makes it a Western. I mean, obviously, you also got the Ridiculous Six in 5 days too.
come on.
I told Wes I'm gonna watch it.
I know we
We should
both
do a
are.
re- we're gonna do a
We're
review
both
for this
watching
thing,
it. I
man.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not buy this movie for $1. Like I said, it's worth like if you find yourself interested, just rent it and like cut to the last like 25 minutes just to see that. Because you seriously wouldn't be missing anything. Like the characters, like they're not built up that well. Like they are, but you don't care about them, and there's no closure either. You don't like get any satisfaction to where the characters are going. I don't know. Good actors in a not good movie. It's something that you've seen time and time again. Except you got an interesting angle here with the cannibals.
This is totally an inappropriate segue because this one does not have cannibals, but it does have some evil elves. Some
Krampus?
yeah, crazy ass gingerbread men, Jack in the Box that eats people. So I guess technically
And
that
Adam
is a cannibal.
Scott.
Yeah, and yeah, good actors too. You know what? I did see Krampus this weekend, and
Who made this? What was the distributor?
Universal,
Really?
yeah, and Legendary. Which
Based on the advertising, I didn't think that was them.
I gotta say, it's also
Like a
really
really small budget.
yeah, it's like 15 mil, I think.
Yeah.
It takes
That's not
place in just one
Legendary.
sleep. Hmm?
That's not legendary, man. Like
No, no,
I'm
it
not
is
saying
legendary.
it wasn't them. I'm saying they don't do the small budget. That's weird.
Nah, but this movie evidently, I guess it needed help to get made. It's tough to make a Christmas horror film,
Anti-Christmas
yeah, too.
movie.
But
Well,
hey,
we just
did
saw a
break even
Christmas
though.
horror movie.
It did break even this weekend though, which was nice. Yeah, but honestly, I gotta say though, it starts out so strong. I really love the custom made logos that they had for Universal and Legendary here. It's also like just the sound, like there was
Sleigh bells and
yeah,
shit.
just the way that they did it, like just managed to make those bells sound menacing. Like it just really got me in the mood right away. And also, I have to say, this out of all the movies I've seen this year, this is my favorite opening title sequence that I've seen.
Oh, I mean, it's Christmas theme. I'm assuming like it begins either it's not the first sequence, but it's like one of the first where there's the legend of the Krampus. I would
Nope,
assume.
no. The first sequence is
These
it's
fucking
all shot.
horrible kids showing up to their grandma's house.
No. It's all high speed footage of a Black Friday stampede, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's hilarious.
Oh, I bet.
I'll
Well,
play
I
too.
kind of I want
I
to see
forgot
this
what the
movie,
name
but
of the
I know
Christmas.
it's probably not that good.
I forgot what the name of the Christmas song is, but it's it was just everyone was laughing. No. It was
Oh,
it was some
actual
Bing
Christmas
Crosby song. Like I can't remember which
Little
one.
Drummer Boy or something like that.
No, it wasn't Little Drummer Boy. I don't know. Maybe.
I got you. Yeah, it's something.
yeah.
Some very high, like fucking.
I think it's the
cliche
most
Christmas song.
wonderful time of the year. I think it's that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. But yeah, the title sequence was hilarious. I really like the banter with the relatives too. Like there's a lot of funny stuff in here, and there is so much here that like should be perfect. I think like just the introduction of the Krampus, like first scene that you see with him on the street, really cool stuff that they do with sound, and just really looks intimidating. And there's nothing really wrong with this movie. It's a really fun kind of Joe Dante-esque premise. It's just having just reviewed Gremlins, which you can listen to that episode, we just put it up, and I kind of gushed over it and wasn't exactly coherent, but I think what makes something like that a lot more fun is that there's a lot more like just details packed in there and like little small gags like you talk, that bar scene with the gremlins. It's just these are things that don't necessarily have to do with the plot, but it's just little gags that are thrown in for fun. Like why having a flasher gremlins got nothing to do with the plot. The Ruck and Ricky broadcast has a few fun moments in there. It's all like little things in the background that make it fun, and I think here
because this is just like one family in
yeah,
one house
it's just
on
one
one night
family,
of the year
and
who are doing
there's
something very serious, even though it's fucking silly.
like there's some really good banter with the family and there's some funny stuff, but I guess it's that the horror element to me is just not as strong. There's some cool kills, but it just kind of feels like even though
It's
it, it's
PG-13, right?
yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
even though it's kind of it's creative, but just feels like okay, well, I've seen a kill done like that before. Maybe not with someone stabbing a teddy bear that's
Or
trying to
maybe
kill
not
them,
with the
but
anti-Santa Claus.
yeah, but it's like there's really nothing unique to it other than it's just you're stabbing something. It's funny that gingerbread men are shooting at someone with a nail gun, but then later it just they get killed in a way that's not that interesting. And like, there's a lot of funny stuff. I just feel like because the horror element is not as strong, there's just no surprises in there.
Hmm.
And I guess that's kind of the bummer for me, though. But there's so much great stuff here. Just the fucking design of Krampus alone, it is so good. And like you were talking about, the it opening with a bit of a backstory. There is a sequence like that is so good in this movie. Like it just uses animation. I'm amazed that they were able to do it with the budget that they had because it looks beautiful.
Did you see Rare Imports?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
a long time ago. I don't remember it that well. I was really tired, but
I mean, that's kind of like an anti-Santa movie,
yeah,
kind of like like this almost, but not. Well, I mean, yeah, that's horror also.
yeah. Though I gotta say the movie it's still a lot of fun. It's still really funny, and it really has a nice emotional center to it that I really appreciated. I really, especially because I don't know if you saw Trick or Treat. I liked it a lot, and I really liked
Yeah, I mean to. It's on Netflix
yeah,
still.
and I liked the Halloween mythos of that. But just there is a chance to do something like so great here, and I wish it would like the mythology is just great. I wish there was more creative stuff that was done with it, though. Really, and that's it. It because it has the potential. It had the potential to be a classic, and it just kind of felt a little more standard. So it's not necessarily a movie that does anything wrong. It's just it's not as great as it should be. It doesn't reach its full potential.
Well, I mean, it has potential to be maybe not a full franchise, but it could spin off and have a sequel or two. Maybe like one where Krampus is the main character or something. But like if the mythos is there, and especially if it's fucking Universal, like, I can't imagine they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it did well enough this weekend. I think
Yeah.
it at least broke even with its production budget. So
If it stays in theaters to Christmas, like it could be something that people see instead of Star Wars,
well,
especially if they've already seen it or it's sold out.
it's a horror movie. I think it's going to have a big drop next weekend. You're definitely going to see that. But I didn't see it with the biggest crowd, but the crowd that I was with had fun, and I see that there's some divisive reviews on Letterboxd. There are with horror movies in general, because for even good horror movies, there's stuff that people just think is stupid and doesn't work for them. But I think it's worth checking out. I really wanted to love this more though because there's so much good stuff in here. Like I was right from the moment that the studio logos came up, I really felt like I was gonna see something special, and it did let me down a bit, but it's still a good movie, and it's worth
Yeah.
checking out at some point.
Yeah, I want to see it. I mean, I wanted to. It was when we made a list when I was still working in the theater. It was one of the things that I wanted to do a review for when we were still doing a review per episode. And just having not necessarily. I have more money now than I did then, but just having less access to theaters, it's not something that I would go out and pay to see. But definitely when it comes around, you said it's Universal, so I know it's not coming to streaming anytime soon. But if it, when it lands on cable or maybe like Redbox or something, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, do it. It's worth it.
I saw something also dark, also mythological in a way. I saw Spike Lee's The Sweet Blood of Jesus the other night. Well, I saw it actually Thursday night or Wednesday night because I thought I was going to see the film that you're about to review in a second, fucking Chi-Raq.
Hmm. Don't
Um,
spoil it.
oh, like
It's too
someone
late
doesn't
now.
know.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the title.
They
The
don't
fucking
know.
movie. It's going to be the description of the podcast. All of them are going to be there.
You don't
Um,
share these things with me.
well, it's not your job description, but the weird movie, like interesting and kind of good, but also like obviously weird just on the premise. Like I knew very little about this. Like I remembered what was going on online like during the Kickstarter. Because yeah, this is Spike Lee's Kickstarter movie. Every indie, you know, auteur's had his Kickstarter movie or is gonna have his just so he can try to be hip again or whatever. And so all I knew was that it was about blood and like vampires maybe. And then after I saw it, like I realized, or not realized, but I discovered that this is like a reinterpretation, almost a remake of a blaxploitation movie called Ganja and Hess, which is the name of the two like lovebirds in the film, I guess you could say. Just like has a really weird tone. It's like there's some funny stuff, but it takes itself really seriously, and the camera is really distant. The beginning's really fucking horrible too. Like the first, I don't know, 15 minutes, I was like, what are they talking about? Do people actually converse in this way? Like, sounds way too scientific and like uninteresting. Just there's like no humanity in the conversation. But then like the supernatural element comes into it. I'm just gonna ruin it because it probably will help the movie if
Yeah,
anything.
thank you.
I mean, you definitely wouldn't check it out given how little of Spike Lee's work you've seen anyway. But this main character Hess, who's a millionaire, I think probably a billionaire actually. I don't know. They never disclose how much money he has, but he has a ton of it. Um, he's like fascinated with African mythology and all this shit. And so this guy who he's like hired to be his assistant tries to kill him in his sleep. First, he tries to hang himself, and then he tries to kill Hess. And the weapon he uses, this like ancient African dagger, imbibes in him like immortality. It basically makes him a vampire. Okay, like they're already talking about blood and how it's important in African culture, and they do like this whole backstory, where it's kind of like the Blood Queen from Hostel 2, like it's something like that. And like yeah, he's like drinking blood, but then yeah, he becomes a vampire, and then like it gets a lot more interesting because it's he doesn't have fangs or anything, but he's like consuming blood and he like can't get injured or anything, and like it like has some interesting stuff and like Tootie, is that her name? Yeah, Tootie from The Wire like is in it for like a scene which is out of nowhere and her character's really weird. But like it's kind of fun for a little bit. Like I was watching, I was like, this is almost like Spike Lee's superhero movie. Almost. Like, it's like his take on Blade or something without the action sequences. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. And then of course, Ganja shows up and then it changes the whole vibe of the movie and then becomes a a doomed romance type thing, like an archetypal romance. Um, so yeah, not that great. Probably the best thing about this movie is the music. There's not just like known musicians, but part of the Kickstarter campaign is that he used like unsourced, non-signed musicians as well. And so like there's a really like vibrant sound to it, like really across the board, like lots of different genres. Um, I don't know. Like it's what's his name from Mr. Robot's in this?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, or maybe you know this, the Pharaoh from Night Museum. Um,
Hank Azaria?
no, no, what? No, he's not the Pharaoh. Oh
Who?
yeah, he
Yeah,
is. Yeah, he is in the first. Yeah, well, I meant the mummy, not the Pharaoh. Shit, what's his name? Um,
I don't know.
I can't recall right now.
It's a
But like,
pretty different movie though.
I'm pretty sure his character's title was Shit and like, I didn't catch it right away, but I think his name was Sit and Shout.
Hmm.
He's a butler. I don't know, but yeah, not the best movie. Wouldn't buy it for $1.
You know,
I told you last week that this was streaming on Vimeo. That's how it premiered. Just it's his Kickstarter movie,
it's
trying to
funny.
get
Just
back to his indie roots.
which is funny because I did. I'm going to talk about Chi-Raq in a second, but I did have this thought of, okay, if he was able to make a deal with Amazon just to make whatever
Uh-huh.
movie he wanted, then how is it that this is not one of them? And I don't know anything about this movie other than it's weird, and what you've just said is more
Yeah,
than I've ever heard about it, and
yeah, it's more than I knew.
it
Yeah.
sounds like there's no way to really sell this movie to any distributor
Yeah,
or executive. Like,
this is strictly a I like Spike Lee. I want to see what he did with Kickstarter. That's all it
It
is. That's
sounds.
100% what it
I
is.
mean, I'm not. I think the Kickstarter idea now it seems selfish. Just the idea of like giving rich people money. Now I'm realizing that that's stupid and I should never do that. Like I'm almost
I mean,
embarrassed that I gave money to the Zach Braff Kickstarter. But
no, like that
then
wasn't
again,
bad. Wish I Was Here wasn't
no.
bad.
But I mean, the fact that I gave money to someone who has access to money. I mean, he could have. You think about it,
Well,
he could
you
have made
know
that
how
movie on
much
his own.
money. Yeah, you definitely could have.
Yeah,
But like, well,
but
I'm
this I
sure
don't know. This
most
one
of.
almost sounds like it makes sense to me, just because it sounds way too weird that
Uh-huh.
you would never be able to get this made by any studio, even an indie one, probably.
I mean, this is yeah, no, I doubt it. But like this film, like maybe the audience is the people that actually know the Bill Gunn blaxploitation that it's based on. But yeah, just Rami Malek is the name I was looking for. Um, yeah, I wouldn't check it out, especially since you barely like Spike Lee as it is.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay,
I do
especially
like
since you haven't
Spike Lee. I
seen
just
a lot
haven't.
of his
I've
work.
not seen enough Spike Lee. Like what I've seen about Spike Lee, I tend to love. I love Do the Right Thing, and I love Inside Man.
Everyone loves to do the right thing and Inside Man.
I still need to see Malcolm
It's like
X.
someone's like, I don't really like Kevin Smith, but I love Chasing Amy and Dogma.
I love Kevin Smith. I like Old Boy too.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about that last.
yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I like Old Boy, but yeah, it wasn't bad.
I had a good enough time with it. But
But yeah, so
anyway,
I saw Spike Lee's first film this year, and you saw his second. Tell me about Chi-Raq. Don't fucking ruin it. I swear to God. I'm probably gonna see it next week or whenever they put it
don't
online.
ruin it.
Yeah, you can hear me rants about it on 2 Cents, by the way, guys.
All right. Well, what do you know about it?
I know that it takes place in Chicago.
Hmm.
It's based on the name Chi-Raq because that's what they call the city now because there's like the most gun deaths in the country or in the world actually that isn't a war zone. I know it's somewhat a musical. I know Nick Cannon stars in it.
All
That's
right.
all I know.
Well, yeah, it's a satire based on the Greek play Lysistrata by Aristophanes,
Okay.
and you know what? You started with this. Like, yeah, it is. The title is basically what they call Chicago now, or at least one side of it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not that familiar with this, and I know that there's been some controversy ever since the trailer dropped because it's a very, very serious thing for a lot of people, and that some people do feel quite insulted to see that there's a
It's a
satire
comedy.
based on this thing that's happening right now, and you have Samuel L. Jackson just showing up in an orange suit going, "Hey folks, welcome to Chi-Raq." And I gotta say, I'm looking at this as art, and because I mean honestly I'm not well educated on the subject of Chi-Raq at all, so if it offends people I understand and that sucks, but I really hope it doesn't diminish what this movie is trying to say, because it is an important movie, I do feel, and it's very much a movie of this time. Like really, literally, it's a movie of now. I mean, they do.
Yeah.
It really is a commentary on gun control, and I mean, they even mention stuff that happened just recently. They mentioned the Charleston shooting. That was back in June. Like this movie was. I think it was shooting back in May, like in July. But yeah, they're mentioning stuff that is happening right now. So it's very much a movie of this moment. And, I mean, not just in gun control, but there's also other things. Like it's very much about male sexual entitlement. Because do you know the entire premise of this movie?
No.
All right, well,
I know John Cusack's in it for some reason, but I don't know.
all right, well, it's basically what it is that all these women that are with the gangsters, they get together and they say, "Hey, if you don't put the guns down and stop shooting each other, then we won't fuck you."
anymore.
Yeah. And it just gets crazy after that. It goes on a global scale, and pretty soon, almost every woman in the nation is just going on this strike, and it gets pretty crazy. Even though for them, it's really different reasons. It ties into the whole male sexual entitlement allegory there. There's a lot going on here, though. Really, like it's such a crazy upbeat film. Like Spike Lee just makes this with so much energy. Like I've not seen much of his later stuff, but like from what I hear that they're saying is like he has not made a movie that seems this passionate in a long time. I mean, because there's
Since like Inside Man, probably.
well,
Did you see Miracle at St. Anna?
no, I asked you about that.
Yeah, don't.
All right. Well, I mean, this movie's just so energetic. Like there's so much passion being put into this, and he's clearly done so much research on the subject because they are referencing very specific things. Like I swear there's a Cecil the Lion reference in there. Like I might have missed it, but there is so many things happening here that you might just it might just go over your head. And like I think that he knows that too, because maybe it's just because he's hammering the point in, and like literally, like there's a sermon that John Cusack delivers, who plays a minister, and he cuts back to one line, or John Cusack says one important thing, and then he cuts back to that same line, but from a different take, to really hammer that point into it, like just drills it into your head. It's so fucking heavy-handed, but like,
Well,
you got to make
commentary
it clear,
like this.
yeah,
With a subject like this, it has to be heavy-handed.
You can't expect it to be subtle either, and there's so many things that are being said in here that I do think it's, I can't really blame the movie either, because you are bound to miss it. It's throwing so many points at you, and you don't have that much time to reflect on everything. Like, you really walk out thinking of a lot of different things.
Which Spike Lee was initially known for.
Yeah, this really is going to cause some controversy, I think, for some people. But by the way, you brought up John Cusack. Why is he in this movie?
No clue.
Okay, he plays.
He almost never cast white people unless they're racist.
He is white, and he plays a minister.
Yeah,
at a church in a black neighborhood. And honestly,
Spike Lee's most recent two movies besides Old Boy had black ministers in them. So.
Okay, but here's the thing. They do justify it in the movie. I really wish that they did, because when I was watching it, you know what? That thought did come up for a second of like, oh, well, that is kind of a weird choice. Why would they do that? But by the time that he starts delivering his sermon, it is so good. And I just, like, it might be, I didn't feel it was too over the top, even though, like, it was a very, very dramatic, like, powerful delivery. It was very passionate, but I just did not need an explanation at that moment, because I didn't care. Like, it didn't matter to me that he was a white guy. It's just, okay, this guy is a minister and he cares about his neighborhood. Like,
John Cusack is from upstate New York, Illinois, so.
And I mean, honestly, yeah, but at that moment, just, I did not give a shit about race, and I felt like almost drawing attention to it, like explaining to it like it's a weird thing, like that sort of undermines it for me. Like, I really wish that not a thing was said, but at the same time, I understand why people would need that explanation, I think, but I felt it would have been just much, much more bolder if they just left it there as was and just didn't make it a big deal. But like I said, it is a really important movie. It's very much about today. And like I feel like it's definitely something that you should see. I'm sure that you are going to watch it when it hits Prime.
Definitely going to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, Spike Lee, his career is grounded in politically sensitive and like of the moment politics. I mean, starting with School Days and Do the Right Thing, which are very much so the same moral standpoint.
Well, I do think though
and
that
moving on to like interracial relationships with Jungle Fever.
I do think that Do the Right Thing, though, still the message for that movie holds up.
No,
like,
it'll stay like
I think the
important
references
until we break down like the civil rights, like, and make it like more not realistic, but some that you don't even talk about. Like, it's just there.
I don't know. I want to say that the references to this, like, I really hope that they date the movie. I mean, not saying that as an insult, but like, if they don't, then that's going to be just sad. Honestly,
if it's like Do the Right Thing, and 20 years later, it's still just as relevant.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be sad.
Although I think that the issue in Do the Right Thing, it's much more. It seems much more simple, because this movie has so much on its mind, and you're bound to, like, some stuff is bound to go over your head, but you know what? There's so much more I could talk about. Like, I really dig the writing of this movie. Like, just the language itself. Every line is pretty much spoken in rhyme. And I don't know if that's a thing with the play. I can't remember the last time I read a Greek play in school, if that's just part of the style. But like, it really works, just the language of this movie. And it's I wish if I watch it again, I'm sure I'll turn on the subtitles, though, because there were some lines that did not come up clear to me. But like, even just from the opening title sequence, which the way that it is done is actually really cool, because it's the song that Nick Cannon did for this movie. I don't know if you heard it.
No.
I
rarely listen to Nick Cannon music.
Well, it's a really good song, but it's basically one of those YouTube videos where you have a black background and then music plays and then just the lyrics come up line for line.
Yeah, that's all
but
you see, yeah.
The way that it is done in this, just the way that it like sets up this world. You don't see anything except just a map of America made up of guns, and like just the lyrics of that song, like seeing that, just having that like settle in, like really just gets you into it right away. Like it just sucks you in, and that's, I mean, it's really something that you see where it's like only Spike Lee would do something like that. Like it really just gets you ready for a Spike Lee joint, I guess. And although even then though, like I was trying to keep up, I was trying to like read and listen, and even some of that stuff kind of went by a bit quick. Like it's a very fast paced movie. I mean, I'm kind of ashamed to say some of it went over my head, but it really gives you a lot to think about. So I think it's definitely worth seeing.
Well, I will see it. I hope our listeners do too.
Hmm.
That's all the movies I watched this week. I did catch a couple of things that are outside the cinematic realm. Still on the TV though. I watched Robot Chicken's DC Comics Special 3. The subtitle is Magical Friendship. So yeah, DC is owned by Time Warner. Time Warner has channels, one of which is Cartoon Network, and therefore Adult Swim has access to their properties without having to pay any rights or anything. And it's done the same style. And I basically just had to watch it because it was the same day I watched the Batman versus Superman trailer, and I needed something on the other side of the coin, especially because like I had some like weird argument online where people didn't even know what the Justice League of America was. Anyway, this is like I can't really recall the first special, but I do remember the second one. I didn't see it too long ago, and as far as I remember, this is the best one by far in the series. Just like over the top, like Super Friends stuff with like a like Dukes of Hazzard, Superman and Batman opening, where it's like they're the best of friends. He's the Clark, and like it's just really funny, and it like goes really weird places. And I mean, it's Adult Swim, so yeah, but I don't know. Like I hope enough people watch these kind of specials so they can realize, like, this is something we talk about in 2 cents, but it's like, you know DC right now, they're kind of thought of as the serious comic book. It's like, no, they had fucking the Super Friends on TV in the 70s and 80s. Like everyone thinks of Aquaman as this gay guy in the orange pants, like, and like that's the jokes they use here. They use like the same jokes they do on like Family Guy. I don't know. It's like you don't see that much anymore, and so it was like a fun little like vacation from serious DC world with the Batman voice. And also like they do this thing where it's like a riff on I'm not sure if you're familiar with what it is, but Crisis on Infinite Earths. So they have like lots of different Batman and lots of different Superman and so on and so forth. And one of them is Adam West from the 66 show, and it's actually Adam West doing the voice. And like Burt Ward shows up not as Robin but as Burt Ward. And so like it's they're playing very fast and loose with DC properties here. And the other thing I saw was I saw a stand-up special. It was the wrong one. I didn't mean to watch it. But I watched Kroll Show, and one of my favorite things was Oh Hello with you might have seen a skit of it. Maybe it's like the tagline is too much tuna. It was like these two guys. It's like Nick Kroll and John Mulaney. They like dressed up as like old Jews in New York, and they'd like prank. Not prank, but prank people by whatever the order at the restaurant was. They give them too much tuna. And there's like a real thing. Like they're all, I think they're, maybe it's not on Broadway, but like off Broadway doing a theatrical run of like based on their characters from the show. And they also did like Upright Citizens Brigade and a couple other places. But yeah, John Mulaney, he has a Netflix special. That's the one I meant to see. I watched the Comedy Central one instead called New in Town, which is pretty interesting. Like I'd never really seen his comedy. I saw like the pilot of his sitcom on Fox this year that got canceled after like 10 episodes, and rightfully so. It was like filmed in front of a live audience, so I guess that makes it special. But the comedy just didn't make sense to me, and like I'm happy to say that the comedy here was a lot better. But also weird. Like one of his shticks is that like, despite being like a heterosexual male, he has like boyish good looks, and he has like gay mannerisms, and so that's like one of his things, I guess. But even though it was like weird and I was like real tired, it was still like pretty funny enough that I want to check out the actual Netflix one. Did you watch
Are
anything
there
or
any child
listen to anything?
molestation jokes in there?
No,
Because I
but
was hoping you would set me up for that.
no, but like it is funny since you said that
Okay, you're
he
actually
does.
answering this question. Okay.
Yeah, he does make like a Bill Cosby show reference. Like, why did someone ever mind you, this is like recorded like 3 years ago or something, and he's like, why doesn't everyone like I'm not a mechanic, I don't know shit about cars. Like, someone if they asked me about like anything about the Cosby Show, I would know all the answers. And I was like watching, I was like, oh man, that joke did not date well. Molestation?
All right. Well,
What did you
I was
watch?
going to talk about Spotlight.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, you should have done that at the top of the show. This is the end of the thing.
Well,
It's kind of the big
no.
movie.
Hey, you're looking at my Letterboxd
I'm
page
not
right now.
looking at it right now.
Oh.
No, I forgot. I
No,
mean, I
yeah,
knew that you
I
watched
decided to
that.
go out of order because I was trying to go for the most appropriate segues, but
No,
um,
just you should have opened with
clearly I
that. That's
failed.
more important than yeah. That's more important than fucking Brooklyn.
Well, clearly, but I think Brooklyn has more reviews that are positive, or it's got a higher percentage. But
Brooklyn?
anyway,
No.
well, I don't know. They're both really high. They're both in the 90s. But
Spotlight's like won every like actor what you call it when the whole fucking all the actors together. The what's that title to give it?
the best ensemble.
Yeah, best
Yeah,
ensemble. It's like winning all of those.
yeah. For good
Fucking
reason. Well,
Batman's in it, man.
first,
You
I mean,
you
this
should
is
have used the
from.
Batman segue.
Well, you kind of talked over it, but anyway, yeah. But this is from director Tom McCarthy, who,
Best known
he's
for the
made a lot
cobbler,
of
yeah.
quirky comedies in the past. There's the Station Agent where he was making fun of midgets.
He's not
Win
making
Win
fun
where I
of
guess he was
midgets in
making
that
fun of high school
movie.
wrestling or something. I don't know.
No, he's not. Neither
And
of
the
those movies are
Cobbler
comedies.
where I don't know, he was indulging Adam Sandler doing whatever the fuck he wants, and now he's
Wait, wait.
working on child molesters.
Those first two movies aren't comedies. I mean,
The
they have
Station
comedic
Agent's kind of
elements.
funny.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
making
yeah,
a
it's
bad
funny,
joke
and
here. You're
yeah, you're making a
ruining
really
it.
bad joke.
You're
Both those
ruining it.
movies are pretty serious.
I
I
know.
didn't
I
ruin it. You
totally
made a
skipped
bad
over
joke.
The Visitor too, which is a great movie.
So fucking good. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about that a little bit
yeah,
earlier.
we
So
mentioned it.
that was my favorite. I think that was my favorite movie that year.
Over the
So
Dark Knight,
powerful.
really?
Yeah, definitely better than that movie.
Over Slumdog Millionaire?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Second to Slumdog. Okay, it's a fucking a really great movie that like no one's
I
seen.
remember my top movies for that year. I don't know why, but that year, 2008, was an amazing year.
Really good year.
Anyway, yeah, but big time a fucking comeback after The Cobbler, because I don't know what the fuck The Cobbler was. But I mean, honestly, I wish I could say more because you know what? Yeah, you said it yourself. This is winning every great ensemble award out there with good reason because it really is an ensemble movie. I mean, when nominations come out, I don't know which role could get a lead Oscar nomination.
I mean, it's probably gonna be Michael Keaton. He's probably gonna win just because he got snubbed last year.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll give it to Rachel McAdams because she's like the only female in this ensemble too. But I mean, really, it is a movie where it just depends on all these performances, and they all work so well together. And really, it's just a really good piece of investigative journalism. There's not that many movies that I can think of. I haven't seen All the
All
President's
the
Men
President's
yet,
Men.
but
Yeah.
I do want to.
I mean, I tried watching that a while ago. I couldn't really do it. There's a really good documentary about it called Inside Deep Throat. I checked that out.
Yeah, I know about it, but I mean, there's
I'm
really.
joking. That's about the porno.
Oh shit, that's right. That's. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm busy thinking of what I was gonna say, but All right, yeah, but there really isn't that much to say because it's really an actor's movie where they are
That's
given
right. It's
great things to say, and it really is dependent on performances. It's not. There's not much to say about the aesthetics, really. Everything is perfectly serviceable for this movie. They do a really good job of recreating the period, and it
Can you
really
really
is a
say the
movie
period? This is like 5 years ago.
No. This is 2001. Like,
Oh, was it?
yeah, 9/11 is a big part of
Big
this
part of the
movie.
movie.
Yeah, which because spoilers for real life, but when they're so close to uncovering everything and they're about ready to publish,
And the planes at the towers.
9/11
and
happens,
stuff.
and you
Yeah.
don't really want to piss off people by putting out a piece like that.
Especially when they're praying to God that doesn't happen
Yeah,
again.
especially, and this is set in Boston too. You don't want to piss off
Yeah.
all the Catholics either.
Good thing they did it before the marathon.
Well, all right,
That's a
yeah,
horrible joke.
yeah, that's a horrible.
That hurt.
No, but yeah, Spotlight. It's gonna get a shitload of praise. I'm sure it'll be up for a ton of awards, and it is one of those movies. And it's very
That's what I'm
much worth
saying though. It's
checking out.
already
Yeah,
winning awards.
I mean, like by the time that you get to the Oscars and
Oh, you mean award
yeah,
ceremonies?
like I'm sure
Yeah.
that it's gonna get the SAG Best Ensemble,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it won New York critics and LA critics.
the top best film of the year.
No, no, I mean on
Or,
like acting wise, like the ensemble stuff.
yeah,
I think it might have won. I can't remember. I don't follow him that well, but it won best film at one of those. But there's so many, it's hard to keep up.
honestly, if I gotta pick a best performance, though, I think it's Mark Ruffalo because I don't know anything about who these
Did
people are
you?
playing, but just his mannerisms are very different from everything else that he plays. That I feel like he's aping just the real life person very specifically, and it feels very different from everything he's done. So,
Did you see Snowpiercer?
did I see Snowpiercer?
Yeah, last year.
We
Snowpiercer.
talked about this.
Did we?
Yeah, I love Snowpiercer, dude.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say because like in
That's
that
not
too,
Mark
and that's like
Ruffalo, but
yeah, what? What the fuck are you talking about? That's not Mark Ruffalo. He plays the brother. It's him and Channing Tatum, and then you got what's his name?
Snowpiercer.
Oh, not Snowpiercer. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, 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 no. I mean, oh fuck,
Foxcatcher. Yeah.
Foxcatcher. Yeah, you can understand that mess up.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
did you
I
see
really don't.
Foxcatcher?
Yes, I did see Foxcatcher.
Okay, so like he did like in that too. Like you know, like he okay,
I did
yeah,
not
he's still
recognize him
kind
in
of him.
Foxcatcher. I'm not gonna lie.
Like he did like change his
Yeah.
mannerisms and like the way he talked and like he was very soft spoken and then also like cosmetic changes like he bulked up, not obviously to be David Banner, and like, that's his most recent movie besides the fucking
Yeah.
Avengers. So
Honestly, I didn't recognize him in Foxcatcher. I think it may have been that beard, or I don't know. Usually, his longer hair or
could have been the
something. But I
mannerism.
seriously, yeah, that too. I really did not know that was him.
Did you see oh man, the HBO movie, the Human Heart, is that what it is?
No, I haven't.
The AIDS movie that came out last year on HBO. He's really good in that, but he's playing himself. I checked that out too. Yeah, I love him. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say everyone knows I love 13 going on 30. He's amazing in that.
Oh, there's a good romantic comedy about sex addiction that he's in. I forget what it's called. Thanks for
Yeah, I've
sharing.
seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that last year. Yeah,
Yeah. See,
thanks for
yeah, I
sharing.
like that.
He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
actors, like contemporary actors.
No, he's really good.
Yeah.
Brothers Bloom, really good in that.
And I have to see that movie again. I was
It's a
not the
movie
biggest
that
fan.
I love bits of it, but the rest, like I keep revisiting it
It's
from time
Ryan
to time. Yeah,
Johnson's weak one.
I mean, it really it's a movie that hits home for me, but I really wish it were better than it actually was. Like
Yeah.
it's a mess that I can't help but be compelled to revisit every once in a while.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched it. I think it was one of those movies where it was like the cast was too good for the movie to be good too. Kind of like Babel.
I guess, yeah. But Brothers Bloom's a lot more fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Babel's not at all. Like, I can't remember one good point in that movie where I was like, yeah, I'm happy I'm watching that. Like, it was just a downer from
Hey,
beginning to
Rinko
end.
Kikuchi though. I mean, she was amazing
Well,
in that.
well, she's in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she was great as the. Was she deaf and mute
Uh,
or just mute?
no, she was deaf.
Was it deaf?
Yeah.
I knew she was one or the other, but yeah. So yeah, back to Spotlight. Put Spotlight on the
No,
Spotlight.
that's really it. Just a great actors movie. They're all given great stuff to say. The writing's solid. It's just a really good piece of journalism, I guess. I mean, because it's shot in a way that's not necessarily unique. It's
Yeah, it's not flashy.
yeah,
It's very.
it's pretty
There's
much.
no. Yeah,
It feels like a TV show
Ju-
almost. I guess
yeah, it's just an Oscar movie.
Yeah.
You know why it's there. You know why it exists.
it's for actors. It's an actors movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
mean,
it's
you
worth
already
checking
know
out.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
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 I wanted to see. I was gonna see that actually instead of Brooklyn, and then the friend of mine that I contacted, he's like, "Oh, I already saw it." I was like, "Oh,
Well, I will say
well,
like
shit."
this is definitely. I mean, this
A
comes
better
out like
movie,
a
yeah.
year after The Cobbler. I'm sure that when that happened, he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta redeem myself real quick."
No, no, I don't think that's what it was
No?
because this was announced before Birdman came out, I think, or it was like
Yeah.
right
No,
after
this was
Birdman
shot
came out.
too last year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because I remember like Michael Keaton was doing the rounds for being great in Birdman, and then like it was announced he's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be in Spotlight, he's gonna be in the Pope raping movie, the child molestation thing, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's got to come back, guys. It's like awesome. But yeah, that was our show. Thanks for listening. We might put an outro on this. I hope not. We need to record a new one.
We're gonna have to figure some out.
Yeah.
We